After realizing it, he knew the day would be long. He had to move construction materials up a hill and deal with a woman who refused to move her car. He considered calling the police, but it would delay his work. This genius had a brilliant idea as the woman spoke dismissively and condescendingly to him. She would regret parking there. He didn't cause his problems. He was a seasoned foreman for a new house build. This project differed. They had to walk up a 250-foot footpath to reach the house they were building on a hill. Their situation made transporting materials up the hill difficult. Construction workers' issues were resolved. Despite the tough conditions, the men had solved their problem. The construction site had 2 street parking spots. 2 "No parking" signs were placed to prevent parking. Not everyone respected the men's work. Signs didn't stop illegal parking. The construction site had 2 street parking spots. 2 "No parking" signs were placed to deter parking. Since most parents left quickly, the foreman didn't mind. He couldn't ignore it one day. He didn't say anything if a parent parked in one of his reserved spots unless there was a truck or delivery. If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance. He politely asked them to move when a truck needed to park or a delivery was scheduled, and they usually did. This changed soon. On the day of the incident, a lumber delivery driver called the foreman to say he was coming. He went to check the reserved parking spots. One spot was occupied as he approached. Problems started here. The foreman saw a woman driving an idling car in a reserved spot. He assumed she was waiting for her child to finish school. He requested she move her car. She surprised him. "I'll only be a few minutes and your truck isn't here," she scoffed. "Relax." Hearing that shocked the foreman. Why? Who could be so rude? While contemplating the woman's rudeness, the lumber truck arrived. The foreman thought the woman would move her car after the truck arrived, but he was wrong. She froze. She closed her window and ignored him. She rolled her window halfway down after he waved. The foreman was losing patience. Didn't she see they were working? Was she indifferent? The foreman repeated that the truck needed parking space. She said something that left him speechless. "Can't you unload around me?" "Jesus, it's not that hard," she said dismissively. Her rudeness shocked the foreman, but her comment inspired him. He told the truck driver to park as close as possible to the woman's car. The driver smiled, understanding the foreman's instructions. Everyone had enough of the mom's rudeness. She was about to learn a valuable lesson. The foreman and driver could not have predicted their sweet revenge. Another car and the construction worker's porta-potty were behind the woman's car. The lumber truck had boxed her in next to the curb. She could no longer leave the spot she had clung to. However, it continued. She was too busy ignoring the construction workers she had just forced to park in the street to notice. She was unaware of her fate. The foreman had one final act of vengeance to complete his revenge. The foreman alerted police parking enforcement. "I wasn't trying to get her in trouble, I just wanted a record of why we were blocking part of the street so we don't get in trouble with the city," he wrote. The officer said she could arrive in 30 minutes to handle the situation. When the woman's child appeared, chaos ensued. The car door wouldn't open fully when the woman tried to greet her son. By this point, the foreman expected the woman to realize her situation and take action. She glared at him as if this was his fault. The situation would worsen. She raged. She struggled to the passenger seat and stumbled out. She went to the foreman and driver, who were holding back smiles, after loading the kid in her car. The woman seemed to have just realized the workers wouldn't back down. She scowled. A car was in front, a huge truck to her left, a porta-potty behind, and a curb to her right. She raged. She shouted, "I'm in a hurry, move your truck right now so I can go." The truck driver's response shook her. In order to unload the lumber on the truck we had to unstrap it, and per our company policy I'm not allowed to move the truck with any unsecured load," the truck driver said, trying not to laugh. The foreman and driver couldn't have predicted the show. The woman cursed the truck driver in anger. "I'm going," she shouted. Unbeknownst to her, the traffic officer who took the foreman's call had arrived and parked behind the truck. While the woman yelled, the foreman replied sweetly. His harsh response made the woman red. "Can't you just pull out around it?" the foreman asked the woman, smiling. "It's easy." The furious woman cursed him and returned to her car through the passenger seat. The woman hit the gas and reversed as the officer approached the foreman and driver. She spun around and crashed into the porta-potty behind her. She continued. She tried to drive over the sidewalk. 3 witnesses were astonished. She climbed the curb, confusing them. She did what? Her car got stuck halfway down the curb, thwarting her escape from parking jail. Her misfortune continued. The officer calmly ordered her out of the car. Once out, she was handcuffed and made to sit on the curb while the officer called for backup. She kept being awful. The woman tried to spin the situation in her favor, knowing she was in deep trouble. She told the officer the foreman had told her to stay in that parking spot. However, the officer refused. She told the woman she had received the foreman's initial call when she refused to move and knew what was happening. She was doomed. While myself and the driver are giving a report to the second officer, my guys finish moving the remaining lumber and the driver finishes his statement and takes off to go back to the yard, the foreman said. She was arrested for reckless driving, destruction of property, the porta potty, and driving on a suspended license. Her car was towed and her son's grandmother had to pick him up while she was arrested. I never expected her to follow my advice to just pull out around it. But I think next time she'll probably think twice about parking in a tow-away zone, if she ever gets a license again, the foreman concluded. This has happened before. Over the past few years, Karen has slowly but steadily entered our vocabulary and collective imagination. Karens are known for creating awkward and dramatic moments in unexpected situations. Many occur in parking lots. Why? A crowded parking lot, especially if people are fighting over a spot, can bring out the worst in people. This can lead to amusing and satisfying tales of petty revenge, like the one above. Sometimes they have worse consequences. Like in the story below, it can be life or death. Cricket Davis' heart was pounding. She received news she hoped to never hear. Mother had a heart attack. After the call, she went to the hospital. Someone would make that difficult for her. She drove from the intersection to the parking lot, where his brother and husband were waiting to take her to the hospital. She missed a red light in her frenzy. But someone else noticed, and she was determined to make her pay. Karen watched from her car. After Davis ran the red light, she barricaded her in the parking lot, preventing her, her husband, and her brother from leaving. Why? Why? Her goal. Karen reported the light infraction to the police after blocking Davis. She ignored Davis' pleas and explanations, seemingly unconcerned about her mother's fate. Karen then recorded on her phone. She uploaded it to TikTok. Karen's clip went viral in hours for the wrong reason. Davis cried and hyperventilated while telling Karen about her mother's condition. She ignores her words until the police arrive. Luckily, Davis was let off without a ticket. After her clip went viral, Karen announced that her mother was stable. Karen was slammed for her actions. Her clip garnered hundreds of negative comments, contrary to her expectations. She's insane, one said. Stopping you for running a red light for an emergency. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.